Welcome to True Scams, a channel where we investigate true crime fraudsters and scammers. Today we're going through some of the most shocking scam stories from Reddit. We want to see how they happen, who they affect, and of course, how to avoid them. Even if you think it'll never happen to you, it's still good to be aware. Let's get into our first story. This is a post from Prestigious Low. Scam took everything from my father. A little backstory. 2.5 years ago, my father was in a horrific motorcycle accident and barely survived. He wasn't wearing a helmet and as a result has lasting brain damage. We are very lucky to still have him here with us, but he is a totally different person. Flash forward to now, he lives alone and is totally disabled. Parents divorced decades ago and all of his children are grown. Most have moved far away. Understandably, he is lonely. From what I understand, he started chatting up this Asian woman who supposedly lived in California. Told him about this fantastic opportunity to make a lot of money. Enter BuyTop. He was hesitant at first, but she sent him a photo of her driver's license and told him, "If you think I'm scamming you, why would I send you a photo of my license so you can track me?" And that was good enough for him. She had him wire transfer a certain amount, not exactly sure, but I believe around $10,000. And it instantly showed he made $1,500 in a matter of minutes. He got excited seeing that and decided to transfer everything he had to this app, $315,000. It quickly amassed to over $1 million, and he was thrilled. The woman then suggested he cash out, and he was very eager to do so as he thought he had a large amount of money coming to him. He tried to cash out, but they told him the address where the money was going to alerted to possible fraud, and he would need to send a deposit in order for approval to go through and for him to get his money, about $44,000. He happily sent this. Then they needed another deposit, so he sent it as well, about $55,000. Again, they asked for one more deposit, and again he sent it, this time about $63,000. Finally, they said they needed a deposit of $180,000. That finally put up a red flag for him, probably because he had ran completely out of money and people to borrow money from. The woman told him that he should sell his house in order to pay the $180,000 to get his $1 million out. He finally realized it was a scam and stopped communicating with the scammer. I was just made aware of all of this about 2 months after he stopped sending deposits, as he was embarrassed that he fell for this. When he searched BuyTop scam online, it brought up a website that advertised lawyers that deal with these scams all the time and had him pay $10,000 for a forensic report of everything that transpired and what he should do. I am hesitant to believe this. The website throws up some immediate red flags, but I'm open to it as this is such a large amount of money that he has lost. Oh no, this is a classic pig butchering scam, very similar to romance scams. It's a new type of online fraud where they slowly build a relationship with the victim and they trick them into investing more and more money with this online platform. But the platform is fake. It's a fake website, or sometimes it's made to look like a bank or a crypto platform. It'll show your account going up, but it's all fake. They're just taking your money and giving you kind of a made up animation. And by the time victims realize what has happened, it's already too late. They're gone with the money. I would also bet that the lawyer's website is fake too, and it's just a secondary scam. Just made to get even more money from the victim. This really is, it's such a shame, this poor man's father, they're taking advantage. All right, let's get into our second story. This one was sent to me from the AITA subreddit, and it looks like our classic romance scam, but almost like a long con. Let's take a look. Last year, my soon-to-be ex-wife, 32 female, told me she wanted to go from being an L&D nurse, that's labor and delivery, to a specialist cancer nurse. She was returning to college, cutting back her hours at work, and aiming to be finished in 2 years. I was supportive, although a little surprised. She had always seemed happy with her career and our life with our 2 kids, but I know how some people can spontaneously get the urge for something more or different, so it wasn't a big deal. It did put some strain on me. Because she was so busy, I had to take on a lot more so she could do less. Previously, it had been 50-50, and it went to about 80-20 after she returned to education. About 4 months after she started back at college, I overheard her and her best friend talking. I wasn't due home for an hour, but had been able to leave early and had the kids with me. My ex's friend was asking her how she could manage to stay married and keep up the pretense. My ex said if she left me, she would never be able to make the career move. She wouldn't have had the time to be a single parent and work and train for her specialty, and that I was able to support her through it as long as I didn't know she wanted out of our marriage and would leave as soon as she secured the new job. Her friend said it would all blow up in her face when I realized she didn't care, and that she said she ruined it over by working when we had the kids. Otherwise, she could have left and made me support them until she got a job. I waited until her friend was gone and the kids were in bed, and I told her the marriage was over, and I was not going to be used until she got what she wanted. She told me I heard it wrong and I was overreacting. She was ready for an argument, but I told her not where the kids could hear, and we waited until the kids were out of the house and we had it out with each other. She told me I was selfish and shouldn't punish her for changing her mind about us. She said if I was a good man, I'd encourage her to leave her job and offer to support her until she was ready to leave. In the end, I filed for divorce and I moved out of the home. I wanted to fight for the home since I'd lived there before we were together, but her name was on the deed and I didn't want my kids to live in a conflict-ridden home. They were already going through a lot and this divorce has been difficult for them. Their mom hates me. Their grandparents and aunts and uncles hate me. They're not allowed to talk about me around them, and I've tried to hide how sad I am, but I fear they picked up on it. My ex is fighting the divorce, and her family are telling me I'm selfish and I should understand that a woman has the right to ensure her stability before ending a marriage. But she'd be stable without college. Her job was secure, and before this, she worked enough hours to support herself and the kids alone if she had to. She simply doesn't want to continue in that job. I don't feel like I owe her that support. Yeah, this is a tough one, but I've got to take the guy's side. You know, he shouldn't allow himself to be manipulated just so that she can have a better job or better finances. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you got a different take. I want to hear what you have to say. Let's get into our next story. This one was posted to R Scams by Ash Loves Burritos about a year ago. I just really need to vent. My mom died a few years back and my dad's health started to decline. So about a year ago, my dad sold our childhood home and moved into an assisted living, independent living place. It's been a tough adjustment for him. He had a rough PTSD episode, Vietnam vet, and spent time in the fall in the hospital. Plus, he still has some physical health issues going on. So I know he's been more lonely and isolated lately. 2 weeks ago, he told me he was going to the bank, which he never does, because all of his accounts are in his bank app. He made some excuse, but it sounded off to me. I tried to press, but he was insistent everything was fine. I went for a visit today, and as I was setting up a Hulu account on his TV, and it sent a code to his phone, I saw a text message from a woman. When he was in the bathroom, I looked through them, and it became very obvious that it was a romance scam by the spelling, grammar mistakes, and obvious AI pictures. Then I saw some of the pictures he'd sent. Photos of his checks, his credit cards, his driver's license, social security card, etc. I tried to ask him what was going on, and he went into this whole story about how she lives in London now and has an inheritance. They are in love and will get married when she gets back from London. All the usual BS. I tried getting out of him how much money he'd sent this person. The money from the house sale is all he has. other than Social Security and VA benefits. First, it was $20,000, then $30,000, then half his money, but she was going to pay him back. He's even been warned so many times about this kind of stuff. I was just in total shock. He normally isn't the type to fall for something like this. He kept insisting she was real, but I showed him reverse image searches and tried explaining romance scams. These have been easier to fall for with AI. I told him we should go back and talk to my sister, his power of attorney, and talk to the bank and make a police report to stop anything else from happening. We called my sister, and at first he agreed to allow me to take his phone and bank statements to the police station, but he didn't want to go. My sister was going to try to contact the bank. When I went to leave, he flipped out instead. He kept insisting that she's real and he's getting his money back. I just kept walking. At 79 years old, he starts swearing at me to give him his phone back, and he grabbed me really hard by the arm. He told me I was crazy. So I left with the phone, and then I saw the police station had already closed. I went straight to my sister's house with the phone after. Since she is the power of attorney, I wanted her to get involved and see if she could still access his bank account so we could figure out what was happening. After her and I went through the messages and saw his bank account, we learned he's lost all of his money. There's nothing left. We don't even know how he will pay his rent in a few days. She has all of his bank accounts, his credit cards, personal information. She was writing checks, opening up cards in his name, etc., all the usual. She even has his Social Security and VA money going into different accounts somewhere. They started talking in January, so we were so many pictures and messages and stuff to go through, trying to get a timeline or idea on how the damage happened. We were about halfway through the message when the doorbell rings. It's my dad. He came in pretty upset, but not raising his voice. He didn't want to sit down so we could come up with a plan. He just wants his phone. We tried explaining that this is all fake, all your money is gone, and we need to work together to come up with a plan. We need to call and freeze his credit and change all of his passwords. Instead, he started yelling at me and asked when I was coming back to fix his Hulu. He said it's my fault he had no dinner because he had to drive out here. It's like it doesn't even connect in his mind that all of his money is gone and will have nowhere to live soon. He just wanted his phone. My sister and I said we'll go to the bank and police station tomorrow. He could have it back in the morning. He got even more mad just obsessing about the phone. I said I was worried about him, and he told me to go worry about my own life. I walked outside because I was getting heated up and I was going to lose it, and my niece and nephew were upstairs. While I was smoking outside, I could hear yelling coming from inside the house. It was my brother-in-law. I ran as fast as I could to see what was going on. My dad had started screaming and swearing at my sister about his phone and calling her name so loud that the kids came down crying. When I got to the door, I almost ran into my brother-in-law. He was telling my dad to get out and never talk to his wife like that and don't come back. My dad is screaming at them. I see my niece and sister crying. I'm very protective of them, so I helped pull my dad outside and told him to just take his phone and get out. Now I'm sitting alone on my porch trying to figure out what to do. I know all the money is gone and it's never coming back. This person is definitely not real and will probably never face any consequences for this. He obviously doesn't want my sister and I to help him. He was vicious tonight. He could be bad sometimes, but never like this. He had enough money from the sale of our childhood home to be able to most likely live the rest of his life in a decent place, and that gave me comfort. But now I have no clue where he's going to be able to live. It disgusts me that some human garbage took advantage of an old, lonely veteran who probably just wanted someone to talk to, and they took every single penny from him, knowing that he has a lot of physical and mental health issues. I write out everything I'd like to call and say to them, but I'll probably get banned, so I don't even know what to do. I just wish that my mom was still alive. All I want right now is to talk to her. This one is truly devastating, guys, and it's a good look at how these romance scams actually work. They prey on the most vulnerable, the elderly, the lonely, and they get you so convinced that the romance is real that you just don't want to listen to reason. So what do you guys think? Have you ever experienced anything like this? Tell us your story in the comments, and thank you for watching True Scams.